welcome to the first video presentation by Semitic Roots, titled The Origins of Northwest-Semitic. First up, I'd like to set the scene of the relationship between the Northwest-Semitic languages and their closest relatives, the other Central-Semitic languages. Northwest-Semitic is a sub-branch of the Central-Semitic languages. Central-Semitic has three main direct members: Sabaic, Canaanite, and Arabic. There was a fourth unattested member which we call Proto-Northwest-Semitic, which gave rise to the Northwest-Semitic languages. The direct members of Central-Semitic are mostly distributed throughout the Arabian Peninsula, whilst the Northwest-Semitic languages are mostly clustered up in the Levant, with Canaanite being an outlier deeper down in the Arabian Peninsula, and Arabic being an outlier up closer to the Levant. According to the Encyclopedia of Arabic Language and Linguistics, the earliest attestation of Canaanite is found in a group of several hundred letters sent by vassal rulers in cities in Syria-Palestine, including Byblos, Tyre, Jerusalem, Shechem, Gezer, Ashkelon, during the first half of the 14th century BCE to their Egyptian suzerain. The texts were found in excavations at Akhetaten, a short-lived capital of the Egyptian Empire under King Akhenaten, Amenophis IV, modern Ulamana, while ostensibly written in Akkadian, the lingua franca of the period. The letters betray a great deal of the scribe's native Canaanite language, especially in the morphosyntax of the verb, which is strikingly similar to that of Classical Arabic. We will demonstrate some of the changes that have occurred in the Canaanite verbal conjugations by working our way backwards in time from modern Hebrew, through Biblical Hebrew, then to the earliest recorded variety of Canaanite, that attested in the Amarna letters, and finally to Ugaritic, the most conservative attested Northwest-Semitic language, which gives us a window on what Proto-Canaanite would have looked like. We then do a comparison to Classical Arabic, which gives us a window on what Proto-Northwest-Semitic would have looked like. We'll be using the root غدر, which means variously to stop, limit, prevent, restrain, and is attested in these three languages, as well as being useful for demonstrating some of the phonemic changes that have also occurred along the way. The first change that we can see between modern and Biblical Hebrew is that the phoneme غ has merged with the phoneme ع. Also, the long final vowels have been reduced to short vowels. And in the case of the second person feminine, the vowel has disappeared altogether. Although this was already happening in Biblical Hebrew, and is only sporadically attested. Between Biblical Hebrew and Amarna Canaanite, we can see the dual form was lost, and some short vowels have been reduced even further to schwas, and the final sounds are lost on the third-person singular forms. Although the feminine remains sporadically in Biblical Hebrew as he rather than the. Between Amarna Canaanite and Ugaritic, the vowel on the first-person singular has shifted from U to I, and on the plural from A to U. So as we've worked our way back through Northwest-Semitic to Ugaritic, the oldest attested member of the branch, we can see the small incremental changes that happened along the way that brought us to modern Hebrew, the most widely spoken Northwest-Semitic language today. Ugaritic and Amarna Canaanite are almost identical to Arabic in the verbal and phonological systems. As we can see, almost all verb patterns are the same, just the phoneme the has merged with sa. If we move to the prefix or imperfect conjugation, we can see similar changes have occurred. Final short vowels have all disappeared in the Biblical Hebrew stage. Final long vowels have been reduced to short vowels in the modern Hebrew stage. Dual conjugations have been lost in the Biblical Hebrew stage. Feminine conjugations have disappeared in the modern Hebrew stage. But something new here is that nunation has been lost on plural masculine forms in both Ugaritic and in the Biblical Hebrew stage, but were retained in Amarna. Although Ugaritic is very close to Proto-Canaanite, that doesn't mean that Ugaritic was Proto-Canaanite, as some conjectured when it was first discovered. Ugaritic had undergone some changes that are not reconstructed for Proto-Canaanite, such as the merge of S1 and S2. Additionally, it began to merge with the, whilst the Canaanite languages merged it with the. And as we saw in the comparison of the prefix conjugation of verbs, Amana Canaanite retained some vowel endings that Ugaritic had lost. Likewise, just because Arabic is very close to Proto-Northwest-Semitic, does not mean that it was Proto-Northwest-Semitic. Like Ugaritic, it contains a few innovations that probably exclude it from being the source of the Northwest-Semitic languages, such as the merger of S1 and S3. But Proto-Northwest-Semitic clearly originated from something that was very close to Arabic, either a close sister or an earlier unattested stage. So this wraps up our brief presentation, and hopefully has helped to visualize how and where the Northwest-Semitic languages arose, and how they have developed over the millennia since.